Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to talk about all the books I read in the first quarter of 2025. So that is the months January, February and March. I was going to do monthly wrap-ups and then somehow I just didn't get to them. So now we're doing quarterly wrap-ups and I have a few books. And these are only the physical books, and I've read most of the books I've read on my Kindle. Okay, I guess firstly, let's get into statistics. I am gonna put my Storygraph stats up here if anyone's interested in the visuals. But as for what I've got in my Notion's database, I read 22 books and 10 of those were from series, and I did actually manage to finish one series, which was the Red Queen series, which I was overjoyed with. There are a couple of reading vlogs I did during the Red Queen series, so do check them out if you want to hear more about that. I am gonna go into individual books in a minute, but again, Overall, I supposedly read 7,227 pages and listened to 2,062 minutes of audiobooks. So yeah, and as for the non-fiction fiction breakdown, I think I've read 2 non-fiction books out of the 22. So yeah, I'm still pretty much a fiction reader. I'd like to say I had a nice mix of audio, physical and Kindle reads, but most of the books I read on my Kindle. Okay, moving into the actual books themselves. First, I've read Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin, and this was a romance. It was a professor-student kind of situation, and I thought I was over that trope, guys, and this year just proved that I'm not over that trope. I freaking loved that book. I gave it 4.25 stars, which I love the fact that I'm using Storygraph now and I can rate like 0.25 and 0.75 and things like that. So yeah, 4.25 stars, definitely recommend. Great read. Next, I read Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. So this was the second book in the Red Queen series. The Red Queen series is a YA fantasy series. If you know the Powerless series that's very popular at the moment, it's got similar vibes to that. But the first book, Red Queen, definitely has, but once you get further along into the series, I think it's a completely different vibe. And yeah, you get to connect to the characters a lot. There's a whole magic and political system that is being built, and revolutions and rebellions, and yeah, I enjoyed the second book. I gave it 4 stars. Next, I pivoted a bit and read Manacled, which is a fanfiction, a Harry Potter fanfiction, and it followed Draco and Hermione in an alternate universe where they fall in love, and yeah, I would say it is very dark. And oh, also, it's no longer available unless you like downloaded it before the 1st of January, because this fanfiction is actually being published as a book. It is being published, let me just check for you guys. It's gonna be called Alchemized, and it's coming out in September, if all goes well, I assume. And yeah, a romantasy. The author rewrote it as like a full-on original story because it was an amazing fanfiction and everyone loved it so much. So yeah, I am definitely intrigued to read the actual published book. Even though I've read the fanfiction and like I know what happens, I'm like, I still kind of want to read a published book. But yeah, I counted Manacled as a read because I have read it and it did it was a lot of words. It was 873 pages, so yeah, it was it counts as a book, I would say. Um, and yeah, I rated it 4.25 stars. Again, great read. I started the year off very strong. And then I listened to the audiobook of Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. This was a very short one, and that is also something I've been into recently. Shorter stories, short stories. There's a few on here which kind of follows that line. And yeah, a short audiobook. I personally didn't have the chance to connect to the characters as much as I usually do with Ali Hazelwood's characters. I assume it's because it was so short, but I did rate it 3 stars because it was an okay listen, and I do recommend physical book. Well, I've actually read this on my Kindle, but it I do own the physical copy of it as well, so we're counting it. So I've read The Crash by Frida McFadden, and this was, oh, I was gonna say it was my first 5-star of the year, but no, I rated it 4.75. So this is a thriller, mystery thriller, and it follows Tegan, who is pregnant, and her car breaks down and she gets picked up by this man, and oh yeah, she gets taken care of by this couple. And yeah, it follows her throughout this whole experience. And I don't want to say anything else because I feel like I'm gonna give something away. But I read this in one sitting, I would say, maybe 2. But yeah, it was a very quick read, as Frida McFadden's books usually are, and I absolutely loved it, and the thriller was definitely thrilling. Then I ended up finishing Safe Enough by Lee Child. So this is a collection of short stories, which I think, is this my first ever collection of short stories that I've read? I think it is. But yeah, this took me a while to get through. In terms of genre, it's rated as suspense and thriller. It was definitely that. Each story had some unique characters, and I ended up rating it 3.75. And I think my rating was a bit lower because it was my first time getting into short stories and getting used to how in a couple pages you're thrown in with a whole new situation and a whole new set of characters. But I did actually enjoy every single short story, so I think it's just a transition between them. Maybe I read it too fast, going like 2-3 short stories at once, but yeah, overall it did take me a while to get through, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, I don't know, it's weird to talk about short stories on the same level as like a normal novel, but yeah, I'm trying my best here. Okay, then I read King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. So this was the 3rd book in the Red Queen series. I did rate it 3.5 stars. Okay, this was the book where I had moments where I was like, oh my god, and I really had those high highs, but then I also had a lot of moments where I was a bit bored and the story was dragging a bit. But yeah, I can't talk too much about this because it is the 3rd book in the series. Then I read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This was a new release that came out in February, I'm pretty sure, and it's a romance. It's a sports romance, and it follows a diver and a swimmer. I have seen some negative reviews saying it follows the couple's friend's storyline more than the couple, but I think the friend was an important part of the story for the couple to get to where they are. So yeah, I didn't have that criticism. I just enjoyed it for what it was and rated it 4 stars, which is kind of typical for me with Ali Hazelwood books, in the 4 to 5 star range. So yeah, I recommend. Then I went on to read another Frida McFadden book. So again, I've read it on my Kindle, but I did have it on my physical TBR, so I was happy to cross it off. The Boyfriend. Yeah, this was a book I definitely read in one sitting, because I remember I started it late in the night and I stayed up till early in the morning the next day to finish it. It was a very quick read and I rated it 4.75. Once again, the thriller was thrilling and there was I don't know, I still can't differentiate between a mystery book and a thriller book, but mystery thriller, everything was in there. I love that I can never fully guess the plot twists, and yeah, Frida McFadden's writing is just amazing, so I recommend. Next, I read a physical book, The Tales of Beadle the Bard. I keep on saying Beadle and Bard, but it's not that. So this is a very short book. It's a children's book, and yes, I'm 21, but I never got to read this as a child, so here I am. I rated it 3 stars, which, again, it's a children's book, not for my age, so I felt like a 3-star rating was just in the middle and it's fine. But basically this takes place in the magical universe of Harry Potter, and it's these children's stories that supposedly wizards read to their children, their magical children, and each of them has like a little educational, you know, story behind them. So yeah, it was very interesting. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Then again, it is a children's book, so yeah, can't talk too much about it. Okay, then I went on to read War Storm and Broken Thorn by Victoria Aveyard. So these were the final 2 books in the Red Queen series. I rated War Storm 3.75 and Broken Throne, I think. Did I say Fawn again? I'm sorry. Broken Throne, I rated that 4.25, which was, I think, the last book was like my favourite one of all. But yeah, the last book was kind of, it was a collection of short stories, which again, so random, but or like novellas, and it followed the aftermath of everything that happened in the actual Red Queen series. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed both of them. Again, I was happy to finally cross off a series from my series tracker. But yeah, I do recommend the Red Queen series as a whole if you like a more magic system based fantasy, I would say. I feel like the romance in the Red Queen series it's there, but it's not the main focus. It's the more like political fantasy side of it that's the main focus. So definitely watch out for that, because I know a lot of romantasy books nowadays have a lot more focus on the romance side, whereas this is more of a pure fantasy book. I don't know how to explain, but yeah, just watch out for that. Then I read Live to Love You by Ali Hazelwood, which is a collection of 3 short stories or novellas. I don't know what's the difference between a short story and a novella, so I'm just gonna keep saying both. But I loved every single one of them, and I have rated this 4.75, and it's all romance stories. So there's 3 friends and it follows each of their little journeys to finding their partner, and they're all scientists, women in STEM. So yeah, great read. Okay, then I listened to an audiobook, a non-fiction audiobook called Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I rated this 3 stars. It was fine. I don't think I really related to any of it. I don't know. There were some things that stuck with me and most of it didn't. So I think I recommend, but you have to be in a very particular mindset with this book, and I think I just wasn't in that mindset. So yeah, if you want to learn more about how monks think, then this is probably a book for you. Then I read Nocticadia by Kerry Lake, and oh my god, this book. I once again rated it 4.75. I have went back and changed the rating of so many books, I think during this period of 3 months, where I thought it was a 5-star, and then I looked back and I was like, it's not quite that. But yeah, 4.75. I don't know why I didn't rate it 5 stars. I've literally got nothing to say because I fully loved it. It was, I would say, a dark romance? No, a gothic romance. That's the correct terminology. Again, professor-student relationship. I'm back at it, guys. It had the romance, but it also had this, I don't know if it's sci-fi or what you would call it in a genre, but it had this like mythical illness and like this scientific side of that, and that was like a big part of the whole storyline, and I actually enjoyed that. It caught me off guard to begin with, and then once I got into it, I was just fully intrigued. So yeah, don't get scared at the beginning where there's a lot of mention of this scientific thing, because as it goes on, you like understand it. It's not so scientific that you can't understand it. It's like explained really well. So yeah, love that book. Then I read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So this is once again a children's book, a very short children's book, and it's the second book after this one. So there's this Hogwarts Library series, and this one, I think this is the first one, and then Fantastic Beasts, and then Quidditch Through the Ages, which I haven't read yet. But yeah, I'm just hoping to get through all of them, all the books in the Harry Potter universe. I don't know why I haven't read these before, guys. I just didn't. But yeah, I read this book on my phone actually, in the Kindle app, and it had like animations, which I never experienced before. But the artistic talent was just pretty amazing throughout the whole book. And basically it's a encyclopedia or like dictionary of magical creatures, and I was fully here for it. And again, I loved like the animation of the creatures. Rated at 3.25, but at the same time, it's a children's book, so don't take that rating too seriously. Then I read Wild Side by Elsie Silver, and this was my first 5-star of the year. I think what got me with this book the most is that I've been reading a lot of fantasy over the winter period, especially the Red Queen series back to back, and then a lot of like kind of darker romances. And this was the first like fluffy romance that I've read in a while, and I was completely in the mood for it, and it was the perfect time to read it, and everything just aligned, and this was just the perfect book ever. This has the fake marriage trope, and that is a trope I can fully get behind, and you know, like fake relationships, fake marriage, I'm here for it. And it also follows a wrestler, which I didn't think I would be here for it as much as I was during this book. I'm not really for like sports romances, but I've never read a wrestler romance, and yeah, I was fully here for it. So definitely recommend. Amazing book. It is the third book in the Rosehill series, so you might want to read the other two first. I love this book, and the fourth and final book is coming out. When is it coming out? I want to say September. Why is everything September? It is September 9th, wildcard. So yeah, that's coming out this year, and I honestly can't wait for it because it's an ex's dad romance, I'm pretty sure, and I'm fully here for that too. This Single Dad series by Elsie Silver, I'm eating it up. Then I read another short story, The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren, and this was a little short romance, and I rated it 3 stars. I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember it. I think, I don't know if I just read it too fast, if I was in the wrong headspace, but I literally can't remember a single thing. But I think I like Christina Lauren's writing, so I recommend. Oh, guys, I lied. I read 20 books, not 22. I'm sorry. That just as I'm getting to the bottom, I'm seeing that the 2 of my current reads are counted in the counting, and literally behind me is my book tracker, and I've only read 20 books. I lied. I am very sorry. Anyway, the second to last book I read was Period Power by Macy Hill. This was a non-fiction about women's health, and I am fully in my women's health era. Cycle syncing and all that is something I've caught onto. It's a new obsession. And yeah, since I've got off my contraceptive pill recently, I've just been really into what cycle syncing entails and so on. And this was a great book to introduce me to it all, and it had a lot of scientific backing, I would say. So definitely recommend. I rated it 4 stars. And lastly, I finished Promise Me Not by Megan Brandy, and I rated it 4.75, which is crazy. So this is a romance book, and it's the second book in the series. I can't remember what the series is called, but the first book is Say You Swear, and a lot of people loved Say You Swear. I personally didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but this second book, I don't know what to say. It was absolutely amazing. I don't know what changed, but I just loved it so much more. It's a great romance book, definitely recommend. And oh, it's a sports romance, I guess you could say, but there's a lot more focus on just life and having family and just a support system around you. And there is also a bunch of trigger warnings, which, I mean, if you don't want to spoil anything for yourself, maybe you shouldn't read, but at the same time, I recommend reading. But yeah, and that is all the 20 books I read in the past 3 months. I hope you enjoyed. Give it a like if you liked it, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see more of, and see you guys next time.